Hey guys, welcome to question FM250 of the Further Maths Fortify study guide. This question reads, a sandwich stall is studying the choice between honey, jam, peanut butter or Vegemite by some of its customers each week. Matrix T shown below contains the percentages of customers who are expected to change their choice of sandwich from week to week, and we're given this matrix T here. Let Sn be the matrix that shows the number of customers who choose each type of sandwich n weeks after the first week of the study. So matrix S0, which we're given here, below shows the number of customers who chose each type of sandwich in week 1 or during week 1. Matrix S1 below shows the number of customers who chose each type of sandwich in week 2. So, we're given this little formula here. We're asked then to write down the missing values from matrix S1, X, Y, and Z in the boxes provided below. Now, in order to calculate S1, it's pretty straightforward. We simply take our transition matrix here and multiply it with S0. Whacking this into your calculator should give you a matrix that looks like this. 661, 531.5, 386, and 491.5, which means that our value of X is 661, our value of Y is 531.5, and our value of Z is 491.5. So whacking those three values into the three boxes you've been provided with will complete the question. Question B. Question B asks us, write a calculation which shows that 386 customers were expected to choose peanut butter sandwiches during week 2. So we're taking these week 1 values and we're doing a manual calculation here. So what we want to look at, or what we want to consider, I should say, is the number of people who chose honey in week 1 was 570. What percentage of that 570 is going to choose peanut butter the next week? Well, honey to peanut butter is 10%. So if we times this by 0.10, that will find the number of customers who chose honey, who ended up converting over to peanut butter. Next, we're going to look at the customers who picked jam the week before. So there were 760 of them. What percentage of them are going to convert to peanut butter? So all the percentages that we're going to use are in this row number 3, which lines up with all the other types of sandwiches converting over to peanut butter. So this 760 is going to be 20%. And now we're looking at the peanut butters who are staying at peanut butter. So we're looking at 200 times 0.75. And finally, Vegemite to peanut butter, so 540 times 0.05. Whacking all of that into a calculator should confirm that it adds up to 386, so that is our calculation that we're going to use to show that. Cool. Given a little bit more, it says, consider the customers who chose honey sandwiches in week 1. How many of these customers were expected to choose honey sandwiches in week 2? Well, let's start off with considering the number of customers who chose honey sandwiches in week 1. That's 570 of them. And how many of them are expected to choose honey sandwiches again in week 2? Honey to honey is 80%, so times 0.8. Plugging that into a calculator should give you an answer of 456 customers. Question D, we're given a little bit of information saying, consider the customers who are expected to choose peanut butter sandwiches in week 2. What percentage of these customers had also chosen peanut butter sandwiches in week 1? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. So we're going to start this one off with a fraction because we are asked to consider the customers who are expected to choose peanut butter sandwiches in week 2. We need to figure out how many of them also chose peanut butter sandwiches in week 1. Well, the total that we're looking at here in terms of our percentage is total that chose peanut butter in week 2, which we know from earlier information is going to be 386, because we know that S1, when it was given to us, looks like this. Might even just whack it in here. We were told X, Y, 386, and Z. So we know this 386 for P during week 2. So the number of customers who chose peanut butter sandwiches in week 1 was 200. How many of them stayed at peanut butter though? So 200 chose it in week 1, and 75% of those customers, I should say, stayed. So if we times that by 0.75, that should give us the total number of customers who stayed, and finding that as a fraction of 386. Of course, we're going to multiply this by 100 in order to convert it into a percentage. So this is equal to 38.9 and then some ongoing decimals, which to the closest percentage ends up becoming 39%. We're now given a whole bunch more information. So we're told in week 3, the number of customers studied was increased to 2,660. Matrix U3 shown below contains the number of these customers who chose each type of sandwich in week 3. So we've given this matrix here. Question E says the stall intends to increase the number of customers in the study in week 4 and week 5. The matrix that contains the number of customers who are expected to choose each type of sandwich in week 4, which is U4, and week 5, U5, can be determined using the matrix equations shown below. And I'm actually going to get rid of this so I can write in some more. And we're told that U4 is equal to T times U3 plus V, and U5 is equal to T times U4 plus V. We're also given the transition matrix again, so the same one we were given before, and we're given a matrix V, this one down here. Question E, part I, says the element in the second row of matrix V is minus 20. Explain this number in the context of selecting customers for the studies in week 4 and week 5. So what we can see here is that we're having a transition matrix applied to this state matrix of sorts, so U3. So we've got the transition applied, and then V is either adding or removing potential customers before doing a final calculation for the week. So how are we going to express that? Because this element here is minus 20, we are looking at removing 20 of the customers. So 20 of the customers who chose jam sandwiches during the week removed from the study. And that should answer that question. Question E, part 2, says determine the number of customers who are expected to choose Vegemite sandwiches in week 5. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Well, we have to start with, because once again we have this plus a matrix here, we can't just jump straight to squaring the transition matrix to go from U3 to U5. We have to do our recurrence equations and make sure that they are done sort of manually. There's no real way of automating them. So let's start with calculating U4. So U4 is going to just be our transition matrix, exactly like we're told. Our transition matrix multiplied by U3 and then adding matrix V. Plugging this into your calculator should give you a matrix that looks like this: 982, 470.5, 856.5 and 731. And now that we have a value for U4, we can have a look at calculating U5. So U5, we're told, is going to be the transition matrix times U4 plus V. So taking the transition matrix from here, U4 is our matrix that we just calculated, and V is this matrix over here, matrix V. Plugging all that into your calculator once again should give you an answer. Now I've rounded all of these to the nearest whole number because it's our final step. So this is what the rounded values should be. And of course, we're looking for the number of customers who choose Vegemite sandwiches. So we're going to write down 887 customers. Guys, if you have any questions about that, please drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.